This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. It is officially April, which means one thing. The NFL draft is on its way, and it's on its way soon. And this is an exciting draft for Cleveland Browns fans. 2 first-round picks, a new head coach, a new philosophy on offense, and a renewed focus on offense is promised by Andrew Berry during multiple press conferences. This is the draft where the Browns hope to fix a lot of the holes that we've been complaining about on the offensive side of the ball. And they also have enough picks to not only do that, but also reload if there are some good defensive players available. So what are the Browns going to do in this draft? What kind of scenarios can arise? Well, that's exactly what the mock draft is for. And that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to run through a 7-round mock draft, go through some different scenarios. As always on this channel, I want you guys to remember that I don't do these mock drafts to make predictions as much as I do them to talk through different scenarios that the Browns could be in and how the Browns could view those scenarios and what decisions could be possible if they were to end up in those scenarios, right? We're just drilling the mock draft. We're not trying to predict what all 32 teams are going to do in the first round. It's almost impossible to do. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. But first, I got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. All right, we're back here in the mock draft machine. We're going to select the Cleveland Browns. We're going to go 7 rounds. And we're going to use the A to Z Sports simulator. I think this has been the best mock draft simulator that I've used this draft season. So I've been pretty happy with it. A lot of fun features on this one. So if you're a mock draft nut, check this out, right? You know, I think the Pro Football Focus one is pretty good, but we all heard the recent news with Pro Football Focus. Don't know how much longer that one's going to be up, and that one costs money to use to its fullest extent. This one is a free tool. You can use it. Don't have to even make an account. And I'm not getting paid to say this, by the way, but I just really like this mock draft simulator after using it for a little while. But let's jump into the room here. And let's just go to pick 6. Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Mao and Noah, Ruben Bain. Okay, so the 2 picks that I thought could give the Browns some issues here, or not issues, but give them some pause about what they're going to do at 6. Those guys went, right? Mao and Noah is the first one, right? If you really want Monroe Freeling, I think Mao Noah is the only guy that you plan on taking over Monroe if you want to tackle at 6. Ruben Bain could be interesting at 6 as well, just given how productive he was as a player. But in this scenario, Bain's gone, Jeremiah Love's gone, Francis Maunoa's gone, Arvell Reese is gone. David Bailey is there, who some teams may value really highly. Hopefully that brings up the value here for a trade back, because my first option at pick 6 would be to trade back, right? I don't think Carnell Tate is worth the number 6 pick on his own. I don't think Monroe Freeling is worth the number 6 pick on her own. Good players, good prospects. If I can move back and get them, I'd be happy to. But at 6, I'm going to want to seek out some extra value to make up for it, because I think I can be happier if I move back and maybe end up with my second favorite wide receiver or my second favorite tackle, in having more picks overall. So we're going to look at some of these offers. Kansas City wants to move up. They're willing to give up 9 and 74. The New York Jets are willing to move up. They're willing to give up 16 and 44 here. So we got some good offers here. So that's a first and a second. So an extra second here, a third to move back 3 spots. This would be to move back 10 spots. That would be a 6th-round pick. The Carolina Panthers from 19 will give me a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick, or I think that's a 4th-round pick, actually. Dallas will give me pick 20, 92, and a bunch of bullshit. So I'm going to have to say no to Dallas on that one. Philly is offering me, I think, 2, early 3rd, a 2nd, and their 1st, but it's moving all the way back to 23. I'm going to kind of mitigate here. I'm going to accept the Kansas City Chiefs offer here for pick 9, but we're going to keep our eyes open, and we're not opposed to moving back from 9 here. So we're going to accept that offer. They take Carnell Tate. Delane goes off. David Bailey goes off. We can take Monroe Freeling here. We're going to see what some of these trade offers are looking like, though. So to move back to 11, we could pick up 87. That's going to be something I'm going to look at. New York still wants to trade up. Now they're willing to give up 103, which I believe is a 3rd-round pick, a late 3rd-round pick, and then pick 16 and then the 4th-round pick. Not in love with that offer. Detroit wants to give me 17 and 118 and 128. So again, we're looking more in the range of some 4th and 5th, some 4th-round picks here. Carolina wants to give me 19 for pick 50 and pick 51, so that would be an extra 2nd there. That's something to consider. And then the Chargers will give me pick 22 and pick 55, which is another 2nd-round pick straight up for this. So we got a couple of offers here to get some extra seconds. We're going to first look at the board and see what we feel like could be available if we jump all the way back to who was offering that. Was it Carolina that was offering that? Yeah, it's Carolina, and it was LA that was offering that. And then we can maybe move back a couple of spots to 11 and pick up 87, which is an extra 3rd. Keep in mind, we already picked up an extra pick in trading back. So, yeah, we picked up 74. So we have 2 3rd-round picks now. So let's see here. Sonny Styles is available. Caleb Downs is available. Jordan Tyson is available. So let me write down here, guys, I would love the draft on this sheet of paper so I can count it. Jordan Tyson is definitely on that list. Would love to draft Jordan Tyson. Let's see here. Quarterback, nothing. Running back, nothing. Wide receiver. Nothing for the top half, right? We're talking about guys I would love to pick before pick 17. Max Clare, offensive tackle. Freeling, yes. Nobody on the interior. Edges, nope. D tackles, nope. Linebackers. I mean, Sonny Styles would be a fine player, and I wouldn't hate drafting him, but not really looking to draft Sonny Styles right now. Corners, safeties. Again, I like Caleb Downs, but I'm not really looking to take Caleb Downs or safety in that range. If Caleb Downs somehow makes it to my 2nd first-round pick, absolutely, no brainer. But yeah, so right now there's 3 players I would love to take. Right, so if I move back to 11, how many spots is that? That's going to be 1, 2, 3. I will guarantee that I can get one of those 3 guys. I will get either Tyson. I will get either Mekhi Lemon. I will get either Monroe Freeling. So I'm leaning towards just doing that, picking up your extra 3rd, knowing I'm going to get one of those 3 players in my packet, and then picking up, some extra picks here to bolster my roster going forward. So let's go back to the offer. Let's pick up the phone, and let's see who Miami wants here. So they have a good feature here. If Miami wants like Monroe Freeling or something like that, then I might not do it. But let me see who Miami wants here. Okay, Miami just wanted Sonny Styles. So we're still sitting here, and like our three guys are still there, right? Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Monroe. So, we're going to look again and see, like, hey, can we move back another 3 spots and be fine? The earliest offer here is 16. So it'd be a little bit of a gamble, but they're only offering me early 4th. Okay, so at this point, it's not worth the bite, right? 23 for 54 is crazy. And I've already picked up extra thirds. All right, so, and I haven't done that kind of a scenario yet. So let me look at that one. They're offering me 59 and 167 to move back to 28, though. I don't want to move back all the way to 28. All right, so one scenario I haven't done is like moving out of the top 20 entirely. I've always kind of stayed here. We take Monroe Freeling. Now, I have a million mock drafts on this YouTube channel where I do that. And I think that's awesome. And I think that's a great way for the Browns to go. If they want to take Monroe, if they want to take Tyson, if they want to take Lemon, I'm not going to be upset at that at all. But let's do something different. Let's do something a bit more radical, a bit more different than what we've seen out here. And let's actually go all the way back to pick 23. Like, let's move all the way back here. We're going to pick up we already picked up an extra third. So we picked up 74 and 87 for 2 moves back already. And we're going to say to ourselves, we feel good that Caleb Lomu could be there. Maybe we feel good that we could trade up from 23 if Monroe Freeling falls past a certain pick range. We feel good about maybe one of the wide receivers falling down there. Or if the board ends up in a way where all those guys are gone, we could just take Lomu and be happy with it and then move on to our second tier first round guys, but have that extra second round pick in our pocket. So let's do that because we haven't done that before. Let's have some fun here. So let's take this Philadelphia trade. All right, so we're seeing both our wide receivers drop. What we're going to try to do here is move to 17 with Dallas and see if Dallas is willing to pick up some extra picks here because they could use some extra selections. So we're going to offer them 206 and then a 2027 fifth next year. And you see the points equation here. That means that we're sending out more than we're getting, so they should be happy with that. They are happy with that. All right, so we're here at 17. Tyson and Lemon are there. So we move from 23. Well, we move from like 11 to 23 and then back up to 17. I'm going to go Tyson here. I think that's the player to go with here. I would like Tyson or Lemon either way. I think both of them will be very good players. Tyson has a bit more upside than Lemon. Lemon just lacks the ideal size. He's not a phenomenal athlete at his size. Tyson has all those things. The big question with him is injury history, his ability to stay healthy. Here's hoping that the Cleveland Clinic can work some miracles out with Jordan Tyson and get him right, because I think he has the best chance to be the best wide receiver if healthy in this class. So we're going to take Tyson here at 17. But we get hit in the chest here a little bit, right? Because Caleb Lomu goes at 21. I was hoping he would be available at 24. So because that's how the board lines up, we got to kind of look at what's there. Do we want to go maxing an anchor here who, I think you can flip them from right to left. I know there's a lot of like controversy about flipping guys right to left. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. If you work somebody out and you think they're fluid enough on both feet to play on both sides, then you can flip them. You know what I mean? If you don't think they're fluid enough, then you can't flip them. So I think both these guys, Blake Miller and Max, like especially Max, I think Max can flip because he hasn't even built up that much muscle memory on his right side here. So I think he can easily move to the left side here. Let's see what else is available here. Wide receiver wise, we would probably be out the conversation because we just took Jordan Tyson. So I'm thinking we can maybe go Max here. I don't see anything that's going to talk me out of Max right now. Well, Emmanuel McNeil Warren would. All right, so if Warren's there, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope Max is there at 39. But I'm going to probably try to be preemptive here and make a move up to 36 or somewhere like that for Max. But I'm going to take Emmanuel here. For those of you not familiar with his game, really just good football player, right? Good ball skills, great instincts, can play free safety, can run stuff a little bit. Really good player coming out of Toledo. I think he's going to be kind of like a Carson Schlesinger this draft if the Browns take him, where maybe some people aren't familiar with him, but then once you get familiar with him, you start to love the pick. So we'll go McNeil Warren here. We're going to watch the board here because we're okay with Blake Miller, but we really want Max here. So who am I worried about? Tennessee? Tennessee might take him. 34 might be a little rich to move up to, though. So Dylan, Ty Simpson. All right, so let's click over here. Hopefully they go Blake Miller or somebody else. They go Chris Johnson, Colton Hood. We got 2 more picks. Can we make it? I think we should just trade up here. I think we should just trade up with the New York Giants. It won't be that expensive, and we really need to tackle. So, yeah, let's just 39 for 37, and then I'll throw you. Let me throw you an extra 7 from next year. Okay, they want at least 1,137 points here. So what can I give them from next year? My 5th? They want my 5th next year? I'll give them Houston 5th. Yeah, we'll give you Houston 5th. All right, so we're up at 37. We're going to take Max and Anchor right here. So let's pause the draft real quick. Yep. They took Blake Miller. So, see, they were going to take a tackle. So we ended up making the right move. We would have stuck at 39. We would have been screwed. So we get our tackle. We got Emmanuel McNeil Warren. We got Jordan Tyson. We're probably going to have to play DeJuan Jones at left tackle for a little bit because I don't know if Max is going to be ready, but hopefully he could be ready sooner than later. We got pick 54, so we got the extra second-round pick. We got 70, 74, and 87. So we got a lot of ammunition here in the top 100, and we're going to be able to walk away with, if we stick and pick, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 top 100 selections here. So I feel great about that. We got our biggest needs taken care of with wide receiver with Jordan Tyson, Maxon and Anchor, who it's going to be a little bit of a project at tackle, but so would have Lomu, right? Lomu's a work in progress. Monroe Freeling's a work in progress. Every tackle you could take here, whether you take them at 6, 13, 24, 36, they're going to be a work in progress. So, you can't really hide from the work. But let's get to our next selection here. Chris Bell went. I'm telling you here, if I didn't get Jordan Tyson, I would have been all in on the Chris Bell market here at 39 because I love his tape. 220 pounds, 6'2", kind of reminds me and a lot of other people of like A.J. Brown coming out. All right, so Pons just went. That's somebody I was circling for maybe that pick here at 54. He just went at 48. We're sitting here at pick 54. Let's see what's available. Connor Liu is available at center. We got A.J. Halsey, who would be a little bit redundant since we already went Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I like both players, Warren a little bit better than Halsey. But again, Halsey would be a bit redundant with already taking a safety where we took a safety. If we look at quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier's there, Drew Aller's there. Don't really think that's the direction that we're headed now. Running back, not really interested. Wide receiver, I think we'll use some of those later picks. I'm circling guys like Ted Hurst, Skylar Bell, and Bryce Lance for the Cleveland Browns. But right now, not really thinking that's going to be where we're going to land. I don't think we're going to draft a tight end in the second round. We're pretty happy with what we got in the third round last year. Crown over could be interesting. Lou, Slaughter, Farmer, again, that's kind of that second tier. Malachi Lawrence could be interesting as a edge prospect. He's certainly somebody I'm going to keep an eye on while I make my selections. Grayson Halton is a good player, but not somebody I would go with. Jacob Rodriguez makes a lot of sense as well. So what I'm looking at right now is that this is going to come between two players. Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech, who I like a lot, and Malachi Lawrence out of UCF. I like Rodriguez's tape better than I like Malachi Lawrence, even though Malachi has pretty good tape. The thing is that Malachi does play edge, right? The Browns do need another edge, and they could use another edge given that the future of Myles Garrett is not as secure as like the future of Carson Schlesinger, who they should be able to maintain. But the ideal of putting Jacob Rodriguez with a Carson Schlesinger and having that much versatility at linebacker is appealing too. Ultimately, I think I would have to go with Malachi Lawrence here. The reason being is that I think that we can find other linebackers pretty easily in the Browns system, given how much support the linebacker position has. I don't think we can find edges as easily, so I think it justifies using the earlier assets and the better assets on a edge here. So we're going to go Malachi Lawrence at 54. Let's pause the board here and see if there's any players I would want to trade up for before we get to 70. Because I'm thinking 70s, we're going to knock center out the way. We could go Connor Lew here, Jake Slaughter, Samuel Hecht. I think there'll be a ton of options there at 70 for center. Let me look at any other positions. Oh, yeah, we got Ted Hurst, right? Like, I'm really interested in this range for some skill players here, right? So we're gonna sit and see what we get here. Antonio Williams, LT Overton. All right, so we're sitting at 70, and we have 70, 74, 87. So we have 3 picks in this range. I want to leave with a starting center. Connor Lew is there. I think that's probably going to be the pick there. If we're looking at other players here, Delp is there. Ted Hurst is there. Bryce Lance is also sitting down there at 104. So I like him as a prospect as well. So we went edge. Let's go ahead and secure our interior offensive line and get Connor Lew here, right? Salary, the read here is an athletic center at 6'3", 310 with solid lateral movement, reach blocking ability, savvy field vision as a protector, concern ACL tear in October, underdeveloped frame, lacks elite anchor strength. But I think for this prospect range, it's either him or Jake Slaughter. And I think you take Lew here over Slaughter, who I like a lot. I like Slaughter a ton. And if Lew weren't sitting here, I probably would be taking Slaughter. But we're going to take Lew here. All right, we're picking at pick 74. This is probably where Ted Hurst is going to go. And I'm very okay with this selection here, Ted Hurst. Oh, Jake Slaughter went to the Steelers. That hurts. All right, we're back here at pick 87. Let's look at tight end here because we got Oscar Delp available. We got Bryce Lance still there at wide receiver. Think we're good on the offensive line front. I mean, like Kalen Rutledge, I would never say no to Kalen Rutledge. So we could go Rutledge there. if nothing else is available that I like, because that's the best player available, right? Kalen Rutledge right there. Love him. Tim Keenan, Zane Durant's not terrible. Harold Perkins, so no Kyle Lewis. Nope. Genesis Smith is interesting, but again, I think we took care of safety. So let's see here. What do we need for the rest of this draft to make this right? All right. We got Tyson. We double dipped at wide receiver with Tyson and Ted Hurst. So I think we're pretty satisfied with what we've done there. Offensive line, we double dipped with Connor, Lou, and Max. So I'm pretty happy with what we've done there. Defensively, we've added an edge and a safety. There are some players I want to highlight that I might want to get at 107. Bud Clark, I would love to get Bud Clark at 107. I think he could play slot corner. You know, Malik Muhammad is somebody you would probably look at 7 as well. At 107, not 7. But other than that, I mean, like, corner's not a dire need for this team, right? Like, you want somebody to play the slot, but you feel like you should be able to replace that. Bryce Lance, he would be my third wide receiver taken, so I don't know if I could do it. And then Oscar Delp there, right? If he's there at 107, I'm probably am going to be inclined to do that. We're going to look at some trade offers here because I'm not in love with what I'm looking at here. Unfortunately, I don't think that these trade backs are going to be intriguing. So they're all 6th round or later. So I think I'm going to sit here. Eli Stowers is there. I don't know much about him. So I haven't been looking at tight end that much. So I don't know much about Eli. I'm sure there's some Eli Stower lovers in the comments that are begging me to hit draft on that. But it's important to remember this is not the real draft. So please don't get too mad if I don't take your favorite player. All right, so we took 2 wide receivers, offensive linemen. What do I want to do here? Troyden Stukes? No, I can't take another safety. Yeah, we're going to go best player available. We're just going to take Kalen Rutledge here. Best player available. Great for a gap scheme. That's what the Browns are going to do. Gives you some flexibility on the O-line as you go forward. Maybe he doesn't play in year 1. Maybe he does, but now you have some insurance backup, some insurance if you get an injury on the line. This helps you out. So we're going to go Kalen here. Bryce Lance, gone. Oscar Delp is there. Is Bud Clark there? Bud Clark is there. Do I go Delp or do I go Bud? That is the question. I'm going to go Bud Clark here because I think Bud can play slot corner. And that's a position that's going to see more snaps than tight end 2 will. Especially for a tight end that's not going to be blocking a ton. So yeah, we'll go Bud Clark here. And we'll try to move back in for Delp. But we're going to go Bud Clark here. Is Delp still here? Yeah, Delp's still here at 119. Let's give Carolina a call and see if we can trade up with Carolina. All right, so we're going to make a trade here with Carolina to get 119, move up from 146 to 119. And then we're going to take Oscar Delp. And then we got 149. We're just going to sit and pick at 149, see what's available there. And just take what we hope is best player available. All right, so we've done a lot for defense. We got Malachi Lawrence. We got a slot corner in Bud Clark. We got Emmanuel McNeil Warren. So feel pretty good about the work done on the defensive side of the ball, given that there's not much work that needs to be done there. We get Jordan Tyson, Maxon and Anchor, Connor Lew, Ted Hurst, Keelan Rutledge, Oscar Delp. So we got a lot of offensive players here, especially in the top 100, replenishing that talent pool. Could go defensive tackle here and ended out with Landon Robinson, who was really fun at East West Shrine. Corner, don't really see anything that's really making me want to go corner. So if I did go defense, it would probably be Landon Robinson. Let's see if anything moves me off of that at quarterback. Kate Klubnik at this range, I think that's fine, right? The question is, do you really want to add another rookie quarterback to this room? I think that's a fair question to ask, but you know, it's also your last pick in the draft. It's pick 149. I don't think it's something that would ruin your team forever if you did it. You know, so Klubnik, there's an option. Not really that married to it, but we can peek at it. Wide receivers, Tyron Montgomery would be fun, but I already took 2 wide receivers. Tight end, I'm already full in that room, and I'm already full of offensive line. So it's going to be either Cade Klubnik or Landon Robinson here. What do I want to do? Landon Robinson, who I think could be a solid 3-tech for us, but we feel pretty good about that position and wanting to give some reps to Mike Hall this year. Fuck it. Let's take Cade Klubnik here, right? Somebody who was highly thought of at the beginning of the year, 5-star recruit, has some athletic ability. Let's just see what happens. I think they're going to need a 4th in that quarterback room, if we're being honest. Like, I don't know what the durability of Deshaun Watson is, even if he does play at a level that's acceptable, which I don't think is a guarantee. Dylan Gabriel, I don't even know if he's going to make it to the end of camp on this roster. It doesn't seem like there's much excitement there from the people in charge. Shedeur Sanders, again, you wonder what that play is going to look like. Is he going to be able to stay on the field? Is he not going to get injured? Anybody can get injured there. And at worst, Cade can be a backup to Shedeur. Pretty similar skill sets between those two. So that's compatible. And it's a better 4th than Dylan. Right? Like, I think that's a better 4th than Dylan. Yeah, let's go Cade Klubnik. Why not? Fuck it. All right, and that's going to end our draft here. So Jordan Tyson, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Maxon and Anchor, Malachi Lawrence, Connor Liu, Ted Hurst, Keelan Rutledge, Bud Clark, Oscar Delp, and Cade Klubnik. This would be a draft class that would make it so that there's a lot of things around the quarterback position offensively. You've put a lot there. 3 starters in the offseason free agency period at the offensive line, and then you add 2 starters, maybe even a 3rd here with Keelan Rutledge at pick 87, who was a bonus pick there. So offensive line support for years right now. You also have wide receiver support. Ted Hurst and Jordan Tyson gives this team 2 big targets who can catch the ball and do stuff with it after the catch. So really like doing that. Then you have some defensive support. You also get Oscar Delp, another big target for your quarterback. So you gave him an offensive line. You gave him some big targets. We already have the run game behind them. And then defensively, which is a quarterback's best friend, having a great defense. Nothing raises the floor for a quarterback's ability to win than a great defense. You add a slot corner, which the Browns desperately needed last year, in Bud Clark. Great coverage guy, can stay on the field because he can always flip the safety if you want to run him 3 downs. You got Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who could be your free safety for this team, but just a really good football player and a potential replacement for Grant Delpit or Ronnie Hickman, whichever one you let go. And then you have Malachi Lawrence, who could develop into a really strong edge, I think, over the years. So, really like what we brought in there. That would give us some depth and some reload on defense to make sure that defense can stay good and get even better over the years. And then you really did give some life support to an offense, adding some big targets and bolstering the offensive line. We had to work to get this, right? I mean, how many trades did I do? I did 6 trades to get this collection of picks, but I would be pretty happy with this pick. So that is a mock draft for me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Who would you have taken that I didn't take? Let me know. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.